Hello and welcome to the Olfactive Melbourne podcast. I'm your host, Trent Stokes.
And I'm Robin Stokes. We're a husband and wife team passionate about perfume, and we're on a journey to better understand and explore the art of perfumery. We're coming to you today from Melbourne, Australia, and we'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we're recording. They are the Wurundjeri and Bunurong people of the Kulin Nation. We pay our respects to the elders, past and present, and we extend that same respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who are listening to the recording today.
On this show, we interview Australia's premier niche, artisanal and indie perfume brands. From the founders to the perfumers and on to the creatives who take us on a guided journey through a fragrance that best represents their brand. The show is wrapped around a masterclass in which we invite our guests to take us through each stage of the opening, the heart, and the base. The show unfolds in real time, meaning that there is time in between the opening and the heart and the base. And this is known as the dry down. During the dry down, we take the opportunity to deep dive into the perfumer's journey, their brand, their mission, their vision, their values, along with getting a better understanding of some of the technical terms in perfumery, along with how to identify individual notes and accords so that we can more deeply connect with perfumery, and also so that we can better identify the notes that we like and dislike. This allows us to make more informed decisions about the fragrances that we connect with and that we ultimately wear. The show is designed to be both educational and entertaining. So if you like what we do, please like and subscribe and make sure to sit back, relax and enjoy the show. The Olfactive Melbourne podcast is proudly sponsored by Watchvault, Australia's premier destination for luxury and vintage timepieces. Each watch is trusted, verified and ready for its next chapter. Visit watchvault.com.au to discover your next timeless investment. Hello and welcome to Olfactive Melbourne. I'm your host, Trent Stokes.
And I'm Robin Stokes. Today, we're honoured to have with us in the studio Amanda Thompson, who's the founder of Siuno, which is an Australian perfume house that's known for its rich compositions and storytelling, and for its scents that stir up mood and emotion and memories as well. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Trent. It's wonderful to be here.
Now, just to kick off, Amanda, it would be great if you could start at the beginning and tell us a little bit about the name Siuno. What's the inspiration and meaning behind it? And also, if you could let us know how long you've been around and where you're based.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm currently based in South Australia between the hills and the ocean. I guess, so we are very much an Australian brand, but I do have to mention that I have an Italian heritage and I lived in Italy for many years, and my partner in crime, Andre, is based in Milan. So we definitely have a bit of an Italian sensibility to the brand. Siuno is a made-up word that means yes, one in Italian. And for me, it represents connectedness. So yes, one, the fact that we are all one, global consciousness. We're all connected. And we're all connected not just to each other, but to nature as well. So Indigenous Australians they say that they consider country as family. And so it really pays homage to that sort of interconnectedness that we all share.
Yeah, wonderful. I love that connection. So the Italian background and the Australian background it's like a fusion.
Yes, it's a bit of a fusion.
Fantastic. And how long has Siuno been around for?
So my journey started about 3.5 years ago during COVID, actually. I, like many people, was in lockdown and was thinking about what to do next with my life. I was actually studying psychology. I have more of a marketing background. And I sort of got curious about the world of scents. So I decided in the middle of a pandemic to use my Italian passport very wisely and to actually take it to Santa Fe, New Mexico, and learn about perfumery with master natural perfumer Roxana Villa for 3 months. So I just spent 3 months in her perfumery just learning everything I could learn.
Fantastic. We are going to deep dive a little bit more into that story. But for now, for our listeners, you've brought in a fragrance with you today.
I have.
So for those who aren't actually watching, what have you brought in and why have you chosen that particular fragrance to showcase today?
Yeah, so today I have brought in Ulysses to share with you both. And the reason I've chosen Ulysses is because it was the first scent that we created. We actually created it in Santa Fe, New Mexico, in Roxana's studio when I kind of spent time there. We also have lots of conversations before as well. But for me, it sort of is very representative of the brand. So Ulysses, for me, was I was in a time in my life where I wanted to talk about, the growth and transformation of the human spirit and understanding that we are, able to grow and not just when we're young, but as we get older as well. I guess from a more of a spiritual sense. So I sort of planted this intention to create a scent for people who want to kind of experience that cocoon to butterfly moment, And Ulysses is the name that I sort of, I guess, came up with when I sort of looked at references that sort of represent transformation and growth. So Ulysses refers to, I guess, Homer's journey of Ulysses, which is his Roman name for Odysseus, who takes his own hero's journey in 10 years and travels along the the Mediterranean to come back to himself. I guess it also is the name of James Joyce's book. It's a very interesting kind of book if you've ever read it. I think that represents part of the human spirit, which is this sort of non-linear experience, going out to come in, going out to sort of come in. And it's also the name of the Australian blue butterfly that lives in northern Australia. So there was lots of sort of connections for me to why I called the perfume Ulysses. And yeah, I think our brand is here to support the evolution of the human spirit and bringing us back to ourselves.
I love how many layers of meaning this perfume has. A great representation of Siuno. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah.
I think we should smell it. What do you think?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Okay.
All right. So the way we tend to work on Olfactive Melbourne is we like to spray our guests' fragrance out on blotters, but also on our skin. That just gives us a really well-rounded experience of the scent. When we spray it onto blotters, we do get... we're all going to get the same experience, aren't we? What you smell on your blotter over there, we're going to smell on our blotter. But when we smell it on our skin, we might get a slightly different experience. So we might do some passing around.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. All right. So this is my blotter. Now, I'm not going to smell it just yet. I'm going to leave this sitting here just for a moment, but not on my skin, so I don't heat it up. Fantastic. And Robin's just spraying it on her skin there. I'll do the same. Fantastic. All right. So I guess as I was just explaining there, the reason why we want to spray it onto our skin and onto our blotter is because, I might just pass this back to you, Amanda, our skin chemistry can play a little bit of a part in how that scent sort of unfolds on our skin. It's not an absolutely massive impact, but it is why it's important to wear a perfume to really get a sense of it. So there's a whole range of different factors that are involved here. It can be our skin temperature. It can be the actual microbiome on our skin. It can be our skin chemistry, a whole range of different factors. So sometimes if I'm smelling it, I will get a slightly different scent than maybe Robin is. It might be because I'm further progressed because of my body heat. It could be a range of different factors. So always good to get a real sense of it. Now, we're going to be leaning on you a fair bit through this podcast to take us on this sort of guided tour through Ulysses. But just before we get you to take us through the opening notes, I'd just like to take a moment to explain to our viewers and to our listeners what an opening note actually is. So in traditional perfumery, perfume is usually constructed in a perfume pyramid. With the opening notes sitting right at the very top, our heart notes sitting in the middle, and our base notes sitting at the very bottom of that pyramid. Our opening notes tend to be made up of the lightest and most volatile aroma molecules, meaning that they surface to the fragrance first. So that's what we smell first. But because they are quite volatile, they dissipate the soonest, making way for the heart notes. The opening notes provide us with an introduction. It gives us a bit of a flavour of what the perfume is going to be about, but the true meaning of the fragrance really starts to come out within the heart. But it really does sort of give us a bit of an intro. So hopefully I did justice to opening notes there. So with all of that said, Amanda, let's have a sniff, and then you can tell us what we're actually smelling here in the opening.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just want to preface by saying your comment about, it spraying on the skin, that's even more important with natural perfumery, because it's not synthetic. It doesn't sit very flat. So you definitely kind of need to spray on the skin, I would say, when it comes to natural perfume.
Yes, to get a real sense of what's actually going to happen.
And that's what's so tricky at events and things like that when we're spraying on blotters is you can hardly get a sense of it sometimes, But you do get a general sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is why it can be a little bit difficult sometimes when you just walk into a store and you have a bit of a smell. You're not always applying the stuff to your skin because there's only so much skin that you've actually got. You're usually applying it to blotters. True. And then you'll go and purchase the perfume and go, oh, that smells a little bit different. What's going on here? Hence why I'm sure you offer some samples that people can purchase. We highly recommend that people do have an experience of it first.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny when people buy the discovery sets, they often change the perfume that they end up wanting to buy. So I always find that really interesting. Yeah, it's like the first impressions don't always last,
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. So
okay.
let's have a bit of a smell. I think I'll just have a little smell of the blotter first. And then we'll smell the skin. And you're very right. Straight off the bat, different.
Yeah, they are different.
They're different off the blotter versus the skin, certainly for my skin. You're finding the same?
I am, yeah.
All right. So take us through the opening notes here.
Okay. So the opening notes for Ulysses is we have Italian bergamot that is sourced from Calabria. So just a fun fact, bergamot really only grows in Calabria and certain parts of Sicily. And it's a sort of hybrid citrus. It's kind of a little bit slightly floral, sweet, but it still sort of has this beautiful sort of greenness to it. Bergamot is very uplifting, very purifying. It's used, a lot for people who are, feeling anxious or maybe a little bit down as well. It's sort of known to raise our spirits up. And then I think probably my favorite top note in Ulysses is yuzu, Japanese yuzu. Sorry.
It's delicious.
I just think it's delicious. It's a very sharp citrus. Mm-hmm. It's very zesty. I think it's a little bit unexpected as well because people aren't maybe as familiar with yuzu, and we kind of overdosed Ulysses with it a little bit, which is kind of nice. And I think this is really energizing and kind of brings you to that more clear kind of space within the mind and within the heart as well. Another thing that we really love using in our sense is we love citruses and we also love resins. So we have galbanum as well as a top note in Ulysses. Okay. Again, it's very, very resinous. It's a bit earthy. It might be a little bit hidden by the citruses, but it kind of links them together and gives the citrus a little bit of earth, I guess, within the top note, if that makes sense. And then we also have juniper berry. So I'm not sure if you know much about juniper berry, but juniper berry is a sort of very piney kind of smell, but it's a very, I guess, good note to use in perfumery because it's sort of, they call it like a linking note. So it does a really good job of linking can sit as a top or a middle note. And it sort of does this beautiful job of just linking those two kind of stages kind of together in this really beautiful way. So juniper berry is a bit of an old friend to a perfumer.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah, I think we've sort of heard this term before, maybe introduced as a bridging note. So linking note, bridging note, probably quite similar. I think when we heard about a bridging note, it was a leathery type note. I think it might have been saffron. Which was linking through to a leather note. So really interesting. These are the things that you don't really understand when you just read a note set, say, off Fragrantica, for instance. helps you just sort of get a better understanding of how this perfume is constructed. This is really interesting. We've got something that's extraordinarily fresh straight off the bat. You've got that bergamot, you've got that yuzu, very fresh, very uplifting, but then you've got that real earthiness that's happening there as well. So what was the decision around, sort of combining these notes? What were you trying to communicate in the opening there?
I guess going back to the story of Ulysses and about growth and transformation, it's that kind of opening. So whenever we go through a change, we have to open ourselves to new intentions and, sometimes new experiences as well. So that feels like a bit of a lift and an opening and an invitation.
I love that. Yeah. And, it's when you hear these stories or you can make that connection with your mind, to me, it just brings the fragrance to life and helps me to separate, the top notes, like the citrusy from the earthy. And I also feel like every now and again I get it must be the bergamot come through, like really strong, but then I get almost like the peppery. It's like a little bit of a pepperiness as well. I don't know if it's just the way that I'm smelling the earthiness.
Yeah, probably maybe the galbanum has a little bit of a spice to it.
Yeah, I don't know much about galbanum, so it's very possible that.
Yeah, I feel like the resins are so used in perfumery, but they're not spoken about as much because, maybe they're not like something that grows. They're not like this big tree or this fruit or this flower or, but yeah, they add that real sort of, they're just beautiful. Like they're green, but they're spicy, but they're earthy. It's almost like they're kind of harder to describe. So I think people just don't talk about them as much.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think, we are an educational podcast, and we are wanting people to sort of better understand these ingredients. So I guess, what is a resin?
Yeah, so a resin is kind of something, I guess, that like it does grow on a tree, and it's sort of I don't know if you've ever seen frankincense in its pure form. It's almost like sort of crystallized.
Yes, I have seen it.
Yeah.
So almost like I'm sort of imagining like a crystallized sap.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. Probably why it's not spoken about too much, because it doesn't look all that glamorous, but it's a fantastic ingredient to use. Fantastic. All right. So we've got our opening of Ulysses. We've got our notes really start to describe that transformational journey that we're going on, which is what this fragrance is all about. I guess we've got a good opportunity here to get to know you a little bit better, because this is really about your journey. So it is about your sort of transformation, and it really represents you and your brand. And of course, your other half as well. So take us through, what was your journey to actually getting interested in perfume in the first place? So you mentioned, it was the pandemic, but what actually sparked that interest in perfume in the first place?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I stopped wearing perfume when I was 21. Because I'm allergic, or not allergic, but I have an intolerance to synthetic perfumes. They would just give me really bad headaches, really bad migraines. I'm just a very sensitive soul. I'm a very sensitive person. And so I sort of, didn't really explore perfumes for a really long time. But I had started to sort of, I have a luxury brand, I guess, background. So I studied in Milan at Bocconi, and I studied luxury business management. I did an MBA in it, in fact. I worked for Bottega Veneta. I worked for other luxury brands. So I sort of that world is sort of intrinsically part of me, but I sort of left it behind. And I guess I felt like I needed more, and I started studying psychology. I was going through a phase where I was meditating a lot, and I would burn candles, and really struggled to find a candle that was all natural, but still kind of had a beautiful kind of complexity and scent to it. All the candles I was finding were sort of just very essential oil, and very simple and not really a fragrance. And I sort of started learning about perfume as well, and didn't really even know that you could make a fine perfume naturally. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but I think there's still people that also think perfume is 100% natural that you buy in the store. So I was completely naive to it. And I started, I guess, learning and researching. And when I started, I wanted to start with a candle brand. I thought, if I'm going to go to all this effort to learn about scent and create a beautiful fragrance, I really want to make a perfume now.
Mhm.
Because natural candles are really tricky because they need so much of the essential oil just to throw.
Okay.
And that's kind of how I kind of got led there, I guess, through lots of rabbit holes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so really sort of kicked off with that sensitivity to perfume. You stopped wearing it altogether, so it was causing headaches and things of that nature. This is quite interesting because my mother actually suffers from headaches. She can't wear perfume either. I think it probably is because she's usually just shopping in the designer section for
Yeah.
perfume. But if she wanders through Myer or David Jones, just through that perfume section, she'll often walk out with a headache. So this could be a nice solution for her.
Yeah,
That natural
absolutely.
base.
You get a lot of pregnant women that will buy a natural perfume, and that's often how they sometimes get introduced to it. And yeah, certainly people that have those intolerances. But I guess I also wanted to, I got excited about it when I started to learn about it because, you know, as we know, like Chanel was the first person to create a synthetic fragrance. So before that, perfumes were all natural. They were using all sorts of sort of mysterious products, both plant-based and animal as well. So I sort of got intrigued by going back to that. But also as I got to know the botanical perfumes out there, and my perfumes are botanical versus just natural, which is we distinguish in the natural perfume world. I sort of realized that a lot of them sort of were beautiful, but they had this kind of old world smell almost from them. So I wanted to create something that was I wanted to challenge myself and create something and prove, I guess, to myself that I could create something that was natural, but kind of would work in a really urban kind of modern way.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I love that. And then, of course, you have also a strong storytelling element and to the brand itself. So tell us a bit more how you incorporated all of that into the creation of the brand.
I know I'm a Gemini, so I like to just incorporate as much as I can. I guess I love mythology. I love stories. I love motifs, things that represent greater truths. So I've just always been fascinated by mythology. I think that's why a lot of the names that we've chosen, you know, really connect to, I guess, more of a universal spirit, if that makes sense, rather than a defined moment in time, for example. And I guess for me, with perfume, I think, you know, there's so many different ways that you can approach what you end up putting in this bottle. And like you were saying before, Trent, nothing is like right or wrong. And I think there's a lot of perfumery where people, every time you can't escape a perfume interview without someone bringing up memory, right?
Absolutely.
It's like scent is memory. And it's true. And the big perfume houses, you know, that's what they connect to. So they want to be there for your Mother's Day and your weddings and all that sort of thing. But scent can be something positive or negative, right? And we make this association. It's almost like a bit of a Pavlov's dog kind of thing where we're trained that scent is now that memory. I guess what I'm trying to do with Siuno is kind of, instead of focusing on like singular memories, is actually connect people back to the DNA of nature. So when people spray my perfumes, they go, oh, it's so organic, it smells so natural, and bring them back to nature in a way. And that's why our philosophy is so strict on the essential oils that we use and things like that as well. So,
Yeah, it's. I think this is something that we're very much learning as we go through our perfume journey. Just the importance of having a story. Story allows us to really connect with the perfume and provide a little bit of context around it as well. Where are you taking us? What are you trying to communicate? And in wearing your perfume, what are we communicating to others when we wear that particular perfume? So really, really important story. Now, you did touch on something before, and I want to sort of drill down into it a little bit more.
Sure.
You made an important distinction when it comes to natural perfumery. So there's two different categories, I guess. What were those two categories again?
Yeah, so when it comes to natural perfumery, there's two different schools of thought. So one allows for the use of isolates and one doesn't. So you'll meet natural perfumers and 90% of them will use isolates, and maybe 5 to 10 won't use them. I fall in that 5 to 10% that chooses not to use them.
Okay. So what is an isolate?
Mm-hmm.
And then let us know why you choose not to use them.
Yeah. So if you imagine a plant, when we extract an essential oil, it's made up of, we steam distill it, for example, it's made up of 1,000 molecules. And that makes up the DNA of that plant, and we're extracting the oil from it. When we go to create an isolate, most of the time it's something that we have to leave the distillery for and go into a lab. And within the lab, we use chemicals to extract one molecule from that product. And then one molecule is what kind of carries, I guess, the strongest scent note. So, for example, from an orange peel, you might get limonene, for example, and that's the isolate, or geraniol, or vanillum. So these are all isolates. But they're still considered natural in that they've been derived from something naturally. You can do it naturally as well, in terms of you can use fractional distillations and things like that. But they're very hard to trace. It's very hard to know your origins of your isolate. And for us, the reason we choose not to isolate is because I'm a strong believer that it's the whole of the plant that brings the healing properties. So they tried to do a study on Manuka honey and tried to understand what was the healing molecules in Manuka honey, and this study went on for years. And what they realized, it was the whole, it was everything as it worked together. And that's the foundation of aromatherapy as well. So in aromatherapy, you certainly don't use isolates. You only use essential oils, right? Because they're healing. So if you're a trained, and I'm not, but if you're a trained, I've learned lots about aromatherapy along the way. If you learn about aromatherapy, you just work within the spectrum of essential oils. You don't use other scents and things like that. So that's why we choose to just use whole botanicals. And also, I guess I work with really niche and small distilleries. So, they don't make isolates.
Okay, so you stick to the whole ingredient. That's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, it's very interesting to me. And I love the fact that, I didn't know that the whole is what makes it healing. But it's just the beauty of nature, isn't it? That's a bit mysterious in how it all works. But as a whole, it does.
Yeah, and I would say that isolates are more like in their profile similar to a synthetic scent, that they're they're really sharp because they're just the scent. So when we're formulating our perfumes, we're dealing with thousands of molecules. So I guess there's a bit of a different approach to formulating and things like that as well.
Okay, so is I guess you mentioned just before that you source your ingredients from, I guess those smaller distillers. That's the right word that I'm using there. So do they have to meet certain criteria to, I guess, feature in your
Yeah,
perfumes?
absolutely. So we pay a lot of attention to like the ethics behind the distilleries. So if they're in Australia, the small distilleries here are, normally really good because we've got quite strict standards with things like how to, forage for wood and things like that. And most of them, are obviously fair wages and all that kind of stuff. If they're from elsewhere, I also really pay a lot of attention to, how ethical the companies are within the local communities and environments that they're taking from. So we've got a distiller who distills vetiver, and that's from Madagascar, like vanilla. And they're great. They're a small distillery, but they have a school. They really look after the children. They pay more than fair working wages. So yeah, that's where I spent a lot of my time at the beginning, to be honest, is finding all these distilleries, and that's what's really close to my heart. So yeah.
Yeah, really important. I think it's something that we should be mindful of as consumers. We really should be mindful consumers and actually care about where our ingredients are being sourced from, because who knows what the origin is. There could be things like child labor used in the sourcing of ingredients. Some of these ingredients could be put together in not necessarily an unethical way, although that could happen as well, but might not be sourced from natural, natural sources. They might be dangerous on our skin. We do have IFRA that obviously regulates the industry, and we comply. But it sounds like you take it to the next level when it comes to being really sure that the ingredients that we're putting on our skin are not just natural, but they've actually got healing qualities as well.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. That's right.
Fantastic.
And so how do you, like, when people wear your fragrances, what are you hoping they'll discover? Or how should they feel when they wear
Yeah.
the
So
fragrance?
I feel like when I get someone to first try a fragrance, my approach is don't worry about thinking about notes, or don't worry about thinking about anything actually. Just spray it and feel into it for yourself. So I think that's a really important thing for me, is that we go out and we create these fragrances with so much intention. But I think it's so good to get like a raw feeling for a fragrance when you first learn it, and then go and learn about the story and the notes and everything else. But for me, we live in a very imperfect, busy, modern world. I really want people to find a connection back to themselves and back to nature, and have that moment every day when they spray their perfume, and hopefully maybe go into nature more, because I think nothing can replace that. You just you get out of the city and you just go and you go for a walk, or you go to the beach, or it's just, it's like, that's heaven to me, is our natural world.
It's so healing. It's so good for your mental health. And yes,
Yes.
you absolutely should get out into nature.
Yeah.
I really like the approach here, because I think we do a lot of our shopping online, and obviously you need some sort of prompt to stimulate you to go and buy something in the first place, right? So you're going to read the notes, but the notes don't always tell the story of what's actually going to happen when you put it on your skin, right? So this is why we do this show, right? Because we want to actually discover what's going on here when we actually spray this fragrance on. It's always great to purchase some samples, try it on, go through the whole wearing experience. Is something that you often can't get from a store either. Is that you'll go into a store, you're not going to spray it on and go, okay, well, I'm just going to spend an hour in the store going through the entire dry down period to go through the opening, the heart, and the base. And so you really need to have that wearing experience to really know what it's going to do on your skin. Which is a nice little segue, by the way, into the next stage of this fragrance. So we've gone through the opening notes, and I'd say we've probably spent, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes or so, and we should be starting to get towards our heart notes now. So just before, again, we lean on you just to take us through those heart notes, I'm going to return to the perfume pyramid. So again, perfume pyramid, right at the top there was those opening notes, which were full of the more volatile, lighter molecules. We've got the denser sort of molecules getting into those heart notes. And so our opening notes have started to dissipate. They've made way for the heart. And it's really here that the real artistry of perfumery starts to come to the fore. The heart is called the heart because it really communicates what the beating heart of the fragrance is all about. And it tells us what the perfumer is trying to communicate about their scent. And in this case, we're talking Ulysses. So we're now at the heart of Ulysses. What notes are we smelling here in the heart?
So at the heart, we have clary sage from Spain, which is a sort of, obviously it's a sort of herbaceous scent, but it's a sweet, kind of slightly almost nutty and almost slightly florally as well. So I don't know if you've ever seen clary sage. It's really beautiful. It's like this green kind of light color with these little purple flowers. And I think clary sage is something we chose because it's a very delicate form of sage. And I think from a kind of, I guess, more esoteric perspective, it kind of inspires your intuition. It's a very balancing scent. So that's why it's the heart and it's in the middle. So we've been opened up and we've been uplifted through, and now we're sort of finding our center and sort of repositioning ourselves.
Along with the story of Ulysses. I love this.
Wonderful.
Yeah, this is why it's so important to understand the story. It helps us communicate what's unfolding here. All right, so we've got our clary sage.
And then probably one of the more exciting notes that I've used in Ulysses, which I think no one would kind of be able to, it's not there's I can really smell that. It's kind of very hidden. But is blue cypress, which is from the very north of Australia. And actually, we just chose that because, it's because of the smell. And it's sort of this beautiful kind of piney, but sort of smoky, balsamic kind of note. And if you look at the pure essential oil, it's like this bright blue.
Oh.
And it was just by coincidence that the butterfly that Ulysses is inspired by, Ulysses Papalou, lives amongst where those trees live. But that was just a total coincidence.
That's very interesting.
Blue cypress is really important to like Australian Indigenous people as well. They've used it for many, many years medicinally, and it's just very healing for lots of different things as well.
Yeah, okay, we might have to dig into that at some point and get to understand how it's being used in Aboriginal culture. This is amazing. This is obviously, this is an Australian ingredient. We've got our clary sage, which comes from Spain. We've got our yuzu that comes from Japan. We've got our bergamot that comes from Italy. So we're sourcing these ingredients from small distillers in these countries.
Yes.
Amazing.
So there's only I work with one distiller who they're a little bit bigger, and they're in France. And the reason they're still very ethical and all the rest of it, and they grow everything themselves. But the reason for that is because to get, I guess, more rare essential oils, like small distilleries just don't distill them because there wouldn't be, an alone market for them kind of thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I have one company that I work with that I really, really trust. But yeah.
Must actually take quite a lot of effort because you've just already described, how much rigor you put behind, sort of vetting these companies, making sure that they are ethical, and you're sourcing them from all over the world. This must be quite time consuming for you.
It took me 3 years, to be honest. That's what I spent the first 3 years doing, was trying to, and it's not like you're sitting there and you're Googling and you're finding them. Like, it's sort of this funny world where it's really hard to actually find these growers and distillers. And it's sort of like a yellow brick road, and you're thinking, I'm never going to find it. And then one thing kind of leads to the next. You pick up clues along the way,
and you eventually get there.
You eventually get there because people don't like to tell you their sources as well. So
yeah,
you're on your own a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can understand. I mean, whenever you see a notes list as well, on a set of perfumes, we're not necessarily getting every single note that's in there. Certainly not the balance of the ingredients that are within that perfume as well, because it's your perfume, right? So you don't want somebody coming along and necessarily just recreating it. It took you 3 years of your life and a whole lot of effort to create that. And so that should be yours. And there should be some mystery about the perfume as well while we're breaking down each one of the notes. But I can certainly smell, I'm definitely getting the smokiness when I get to the heart. What are you getting?
I do get that too. I've been burning clary sage in a diffuser, I guess, because I've been wanting to recognize that particular note a bit more. And so I feel like I can do that now. But yeah, I've definitely been getting a little bit smoky even from early on. Yeah, but it's a little bit like this, up and down, because I'm also experiencing some sweetness. So every time I have a sniff, it's sort of evolving a little bit, which I love that in the scent.
Yeah, I feel like out of all my scents, this one has the greatest evolution, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely the transition from the opening to the heart here has definitely changed quite a lot. I think this is where, I think you called this out with the blotter. I'm probably still a lot in the opening here on the blotter. It hasn't really quite evolved just yet. No, it's probably just going to hang around like this for a while, probably because of the ingredients that we've got here. But on my skin, it's transformed and it's absolutely magical here. So I'm getting that strong smokiness. Now, I don't want to knock microphones by smelling you at the moment, but I can probably imagine it smells a little bit different on you at the moment. If you're getting that sweetness, I'm getting more of the smokiness at this stage. Okay. Yeah, and that's just the way it's evolving on my skin. How's it?
I'm getting more sweetness.
You're getting sweetness. So this is just, I guess I run hot as well. So I can also be progressing a little bit further down the path. But it can also be skin chemistry as well. So fantastic. All right. So those are our 2 key notes. Is there anything else that we want to sort of cover off in the heart there?
I think, you just also have that bridging note of the juniper as well.
Yes,
That comes in a little bit more as well. And you start to get that sort of pine forest kind of smell.
Fantastic.
A little bit.
I love these amazing ingredients. I think there's something very, very special about your brand, which is exactly why you're here today. Because we were quite blown away. We actually we first encountered Siuno at the Geelong Fragrance Fair, which happened a couple of weeks ago. And I guess we hadn't discovered you before we got to smell the entire range. It was a real privilege. So we wanted to have you on the show here because we could tell that you use absolutely amazing ingredients. So I would also like to be able to share the broader range with our audience. And we do have some time now in between our heart notes and our base notes to do exactly that. So you've brought in the other fragrances from the range. We're going to work our way through them and sort of unpack them a little bit. Where would you like to start, Amanda?
Okay, so I would like to start in the order, I guess, that the fragrances were made because they tell a bit of a story.
Great.
So let's start with Sonetto. So I'll just spray them.
So it's Sonetto. That's my Sonetto. I don't have the fantastic Italian accent there.
It's a bit of a fun scent, this one. So Sonetto is like a little Italian English hybrid word that I made up. So if it was Italian, it'd be like soletto, like little sun, but I wanted to call it Sonetto.
Sonetto.
So
I'm feeling Italian already. There we go.
Yeah.
Sonetto.
A bit of fun.
Okay, so I love the name. Let's start before we go through the notes. You did say you made it up, but what is the intent behind the name?
So, like I said, all my perfumes start with an intention, and then we kind of create the story and the reference from around that. So this one was about, I guess, I think when you go on these sort of, spiritual journeys in life, sometimes you can really forget that we just need to have a bit of fun, bring in a bit of joy, like what you were saying about perfume, right? It's like just kind of be light and on the surface about it. So this scent was really created to, I guess, evoke feelings of joy and happiness, and also creativity as well, So,
Well, I think you scored on it because I immediately, when I smelt it, it's just got that. It is very uplifting, and I think joyous is the perfect word. Yeah.
So, notes. We're just doing an overview of the broader range. We're not going to have time today to go through the opening, the heart, and the base in real time. So, do you want to give us maybe just an overview of sort of the key notes in the opening, the heart, and the base?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this one's very much a kind of, I guess, citrusy, woody scent.
Yeah.
But it's a bit sweeter. It's more on the sort of sweeter, citrusy scents. So you have neroli.
Okay.
I love neroli.
So it's very decadent. That sort of orange, Italian, from Italy. And it also has rosewood, but it's the Australian rosewood. So there's another rosewood. I actually don't know necessarily where they distill it because I haven't used it in any of our perfumes, but it's a rosewood that we get from near Byron Bay. And there's this very small distiller there, and he's one of the few people that distills it. And rosewood, I think, is a very sort of special sort of scent.
It's lovely. This is going to sound stupid because I've never been to Italy, although I would love to go. You've been to Italy, haven't you? You have. I haven't been. But this to me smells like what I imagine Italy to smell like. Does that sound stupid?
Well, so this is a scent that I had come up with, I think even before Ulysses in my head, down the line where I when I was doing some, fun perfume sketches. And for me, I lived in Rome. So it reminded me being on like Roman rooftops and looking down at the orange trees. Because when you're in Rome, there's all these beautiful orange trees that just grow in the streets. So it's very much has that sort of Italian connection for me.
Okay, so I'm not too far off. I haven't had the privilege of going to Italy yet.
You're pretty spot on.
There you go.
I've also had people that tells me it reminds them of like, wood-fired bread in the oven and in like Puglia and lots of beautiful kind of descriptors of this scent.
Yeah, it's fun, it's playful, it's
Yeah.
fresh, but it's also almost got that sort of gourmand edge to it as well, that sort of food
does.
type of edge. It's a really interesting fragrance.
Mm.
And so this was the second creation in line.
It was.
Very nice.
Fantastic. I
Nice
actually
one.
think this is probably a bit of an all-rounder. So you could probably wear this in all seasons of the year and even in the height of summer. So this is something that's going to be fantastic when it's really quite hot, quite warm today here in Adelaide. But yeah, you can even wear that in the depths of winter and still get that nice, fresh, hey, summer's not too far away type of smell. Fantastic. This is lovely. All right. Which one should we explore next from the range?
Okay, so Aurelius. So Aurelius is a scent. This is where so these two scents I created with Roxana. Aurelius is, I guess, where I met Andre. So I wanted to create a scent that was very grounding, because to remind us that we're having a spiritual experience, but we're very much, thank you, here to, be human beings and to stay grounded in our experience. So when I thought about what represents strength and grounding, a book called The Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, who was a Roman emperor came to mind. And I guess I wanted to see if I could, engage in a new perfumer, because I wanted to kind of prove to myself as well that I could keep the creative direction of the brand going, but, using different perfumers and working with different people. And Andre is based in Milan. He actually studied, I think, history as well. So he's got a real connection to it. And this is where we explored some, really interesting notes, actually. So in its profile, it's very smoky, lots of frankincense, very resiny again. And it's got labdanum in it as well, which is another, resin. And it's also got vetiver. So the vetiver gives it that real sort of smoky.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's actually got a lot of similar notes to Ulysses in it, but it's a very different perfume.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it is. It's quite different. I'm almost getting, it's maybe just the way I am smelling it, I'm getting almost a mintiness from it. That's the way my nose is interpreting this.
There's something sweet in it to me that I can't place, like a lolly or I don't know if it's something from,
Like, I know it's not mint that's in here. I'm just getting...
It might be the laurel. So the laurel is like a herbaceous kind of scent. And it's also got a little bit of geranium in it as well.
Okay.
So sometimes the flowers kind of... So it's not obviously not a floral scent by any means, but the geranium can kind of...
Yeah, it's just combining in that way, and that's how it's hitting mine.
Florals can be really good links in perfumery.
I think this is, when we went to the Geelong Fragrance Fair, this is the one that I reached for first, and it's because of the name. All right, so I love the name Aurelius because it's named after Marcus Aurelius. Maybe not the most famous of all of the Roman emperors, but certainly the most impressive. So anybody who is a follower of Stoic philosophy would be aware of the Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Really important person in history. Probably the most famous, though, is obviously Julius Caesar, who got stabbed in the back, and that's why we know him. But the most impressive of all of those emperors is Aurelius, and I love the fact that you've named it after him. This is an absolutely amazing scent. This is really complex. I guess what are you sort of feeling about this one?
I love it. It's my first sniff of it was just like, wow, but I would feel like I really struggle to describe this particular fragrance. It's one of those ones where you just have to smell it for yourself. Perhaps for me, that's how it feels, but I could just sniff it for quite a long time, just sit here in the corner.
I think that's a feedback I get from a lot of my fragrances. I mean, maybe not so much Sonnet or maybe not so much Ulysses, but certainly going on the journey is that they can be hard to describe in terms of maybe the perfume pyramid or where they might sit necessarily, because a lot of them edge on, woody green, fresh, woody floral. They sort of edge on lots of different.
Yeah, they sort of dart all around the perfume wheel, I guess, but you could say it. So But you did mention there's vetiver in this
There is.
fragrance. Yeah, it's coming through for me now.
There's also benzoin in this, which is probably where you're getting that sweeter kind of almost vanilla-y smell.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a really interesting vetiver scent. It's beautiful. It's not just vetiver. It's complex. And I think Rob's 100% right here. It's really difficult to describe. You need to buy the sample of this one and have a smell for yourself because it is quite complex, but absolutely lovely. Really, I can imagine myself wearing this one to work on quite a regular basis because it's quite a sophisticated smell.
It is.
Yeah, really, really lovely.
But totally unisex. I feel like I could wear this
Easily.
as well.
I think but vetiver works really well on both of our skins as well. And I think the vetiver's shining through a little bit more now as it's starting to dry down a little bit, although we are on a blotter here. Yeah, I definitely think this would work for both of us. Oh, it's gorgeous. Fantastic. All right, what is up next?
Okay, so where we had Aurelius, which was more of that sort of strong yang energy, we created Seva, which is more of a yin kind of heart-opening energy. So Seva is the Sanskrit word for unconditional love, and it's a love of service. So this is, without a doubt, very much a floral scent. So I'm not giving anything away by telling you that.
Thank you.
All right. Seva. Okay. Yeah, I definitely got the yin sort of more sort of slightly feminine leaning. Although I wouldn't box it into it being a female scent by any means. Yeah. Definitely getting those florals.
I feel like I
through.
get almost the polleny smell of these.
That's the geranium.
Oh, okay.
All right. So what's the give us that note profile?
So this scent is very much created around the rose. So the rose is the sort of a heart-opening note. It's got geranium in it as well. Again, another very much a heart-opening note. And also has a little bit of jasmine in it. And then it's got beautiful sandalwood. So sandalwood's just, I think, one of my favorite essential oils. It's just very grounding, but also very calming and very heart-opening as well. And then I should mention, actually, I use bergamot in every single one of my scents so far.
Okay, so it's a bit of a theme that runs all the way
through.
It's
a bit
through.
of a theme.
Yeah. So that's the Italian connection that keeps coming back, is it?
I think so.
Yeah. Is it intentional or is something that's just sort of subconsciously sort of leaking through as you create your scents?
I think it's not intentional. It just kind of happened that way. I just really love bergamot. I think it's just it just uplifts in this way that's not too overpowering in a way. It really works well with so many different things. It works well with woods, but it works really well with other citruses. It works beautifully with floral.
Yeah.
But I think this when we talk about rose perfumes, there was an interesting discussion in the perfume world because it's like, oh, you don't want to smell like your grandmother, for example. Yeah. Although I love my grandmothers, but I think our take on rose is a slightly sort of more metallic rose.
Absolutely. This is not your grandmother's
and a very green rose.
At all.
Very green.
Yeah, I love actually how the rose and the jasmine are playing together here. It makes it really quite interesting. I love rose. For summer, rose is one of my favourite notes in perfumery. I own a lot of rose fragrances myself. I douse myself in rose quite regularly. So I've got nothing against rose at all. I'm a big fan of it. I haven't really experienced a lot of the rose and jasmine play. Plenty of, rose and oud and those type of fragrances, but not this. And I really love this. This is really, I'm struggling to sort of describe it because I would wear this any day of the week. It's not feminine, but I think yin is the right way to describe this fragrance. It's soft and delicate but by no means not strong because this is really quite a powerful perfume. It's interesting. You've got a very interesting range of perfumes here because they are hard to sort of describe. I think it's difficult to put them in the box. They're beautifully blended and they all play beautifully together.
Oh, thank you.
I feel like the rose is coming out more now for me.
It is.
And it's quite strong now that I can smell it. So even as you say, the geranium initial was very strong for me, but now I'm getting the sweeter and more traditional rose maybe that I can smell. And I just love, I didn't know that these were heart opening scents, but we are drawn to them, aren't we?
Absolutely.
He wears the rose and I like smelling it on him. You know what I mean?
I love putting some rose essential on my bath.
Yeah, this gives me, I'm having a bit of an interesting reaction to this one because I'm getting sort of a tingling on the back of my neck, almost like my hairs are standing up on the back of my neck. I think I'm just having a really nice reaction to this. It's I haven't had that sort of reaction on the show before to a fragrance. This is really quite unique. Maybe that's some of those healing qualities that are coming through with your perfumes, and that's probably what makes them quite unique. So this is a very interesting reaction. I'll have to explore what's going on inside of me with this. But we do have another fragrance within the collection here. So this is the last creation on the list. So this is your latest one. When did you create this one?
This was a fragrance. So we went to Pitti Fragrance last year to exhibit our perfumes, and we only had 4. And Andre was like, "We have to make another one." And he's like, "I think we should do something to really honor Australia." So we decided to create a fragrance in honor of the eucalyptus tree. Eucalyptus is a note, again, scarcely used in perfumery. It's very medicinal. It can be a tricky note to work with. And we wanted to actually create a fragrance around the eucalyptus. So the eucalyptus that I use is from a species of eucalyptus that only grows in Kangaroo Island, which is just off the coast of South Australia. And it's just a little bit sweeter than your sort of blue gum or your traditional eucalyptus trees. It's probably the most complex, has the most notes. I think we've got like over 20 notes or something crazy like that. I just, all artistic license was kind of given. And calyptos is, it's Greek, it means the hidden one. So there's also a hidden note. So if you can pick it out, I'll be very impressed. But it's also, it is very hidden. And calyptos is about evoking calmness and rejuvenation.
I use eucalyptus quite a lot in the sauna. And so we've got that natural, I can't remember what type of wood the sauna is made out of, but it's made out of a special wood. That combination of that wood and the eucalyptus is giving me a little bit of sense of what's going on inside of this fragrance here. Now, I am not going to have a chance of picking out what that secret note is.
I would guess bergamot, maybe.
There's definitely bergamot in there, yes.
I think you cheated there because we've already been told it is in every fragrance there.
I don't know.
Well, should I just tell you what it
is? Please.
So, there's algae.
Oh,
yes, seaweed. Algae
is not what I might have guessed.
And algae, again, particularly in its natural form, scarcely will you receive that in your perfume. It's very expensive, actually, and it's very strong. So, funny story: when we went to make our batch for Pitti, we actually, when you make natural perfume, sometimes you do dilutions. So often you blend the essential oils, but some notes like algae are so strong, you first dilute them in alcohol, then you add them to the synergy. And we just forgot to do that step. And so it just got added in its pure form, and we had a very strong seaweed smelling perfume. But some of the Europeans just loved it. They just loved that algae smell, and they preferred it to what we've created. But it's a very much a acquired sort of smell, I guess, to love the smell of algae.
Yeah, but it's blended so beautifully in this. It's not like you're just getting a smack of algae. It's algae with the with the eucalyptus and the woody sort of tones to it.
I've
lovely.
never picked that up. I mean, if anything, I would say maybe like a slightly licoricey smell.
That's the green anise.
Okay.
There you go. Look at the nose developing. Oh, this is absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much for taking us through the range.
Delicious.
This is absolutely fantastic. So we got to smell it again. It's been a little while since we've actually gone through the range. Now, we're probably at the point where we're ready to probably explore the base notes of Ulysses. So let's go back to our base notes, and I'll just explore our perfume pyramid once again. So we're now at the very bottom of the pyramid. The bottom of the pyramid is the largest part of the pyramid, the base. And the reason for that in terms of representation is because these are made up of some of the heaviest aroma molecules, and they linger for the longest. So when we get that longevity out of our fragrance, when it hangs around for hours or many, many, many hours, it's because of the actual notes that sit there in the base. And that is done on purpose. This is really the climax of the fragrance. So we've communicated through the heart what the fragrance is really about, and this is what's left and lingers over time. So with that description of the base, which notes are we smelling here as we have a bit of a sniff?
Okay, so we have as the base, we've got both sandalwood and cedarwood.
Yeah, definitely getting that woody smell coming through.
That very sort of woody smell. The I guess the cedarwood's a little bit more piney, whereas the sandalwood is that little bit more delicate and kind of sweet. And then the base is also very strong in vetiver. So that's probably the smokiness that you started to
started to get.
Very earthy as well. Very earthy smell.
I feel like the cedarwood has really come out on my skin.
Yeah, it's really become woody now. Yeah. I'm definitely getting the vetiver. It's become a lot more prominent for me now.
Sorry, not cedarwood, sandalwood, I think, is the one that I'm smelling more.
Yeah, that smokiness is really coming through for me. I love how this is lingering on the skin.
And then there's a little bit of labdanum as well. So I'm not sure if you can quite pick that one, but it just gives it that sort of more amber, warm kind of smell as well. A little bit leathery.
Yeah. So how does that kind of round out the story for Ulysses?
So when we get to so we've gone through, we've been uplifted, invited in, we've kind of come to our center, our balance, and then we ground down into the new self or our new experiences to actually be able to walk in the world.
Isn't that beautiful? It brings us full circle with the story.
Yes.
Fantastic. And I love how this represents your brand. Fantastic. Amanda, thank you so much for taking us on that detailed masterclass all the way through Ulysses, and also showing us the broader range of fragrances and really helping us to understand isolates, which I don't think we've ever had a conversation around isolates before, and really getting an understanding of that part of perfumery and why it's important. So thank you for educating us and educating our viewers. I guess before we let you go, though, I think we should really get maybe a preview of what's coming next for Siuno. What's in the pipeline?
Yes. So I can't say too much yet, but we are creating a couple new scents. So one of them is we've set ourselves a challenge to create a perfume using only Australian native botanicals.
Ooh, all Australian.
All Australian.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Yes. And that's actually going to be a co-branded effort with an Indigenous artist, actually. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
And then we're also creating another perfume inspired by a very special island in Italy as well.
So we've got a few in the pipeline.
Lots to look forward to. Yeah. Be very exciting. And where can our listeners find your fragrances?
So at the moment, the best place to find them is online. So our website is siunofragrances.com. And we offer discovery sets as well, where you get each of the 5 scents.
Fantastic. So for those people who are watching via YouTube, we're going to have Siuno's website on your screen now, just at the bottom of the screen. If you are listening on Spotify or you're listening on Apple Music, we'll ensure that we embed the website in the description. So please go to the description on your podcast and click through there. Now, popping up on your screen should be a QR code. That QR code will take you to olfactive.com.au, and we'll also link not only Siuno's website, but all of their socials as well. So if you would like to follow them on Instagram, on Facebook, or any other social media site, we'll make sure those links are available as well. And of course, we do highly recommend that you jump onto the website, purchase the Discovery Pack, and really get a sense of exactly what we've experienced today. It's really important that you wear this stuff on your skin, get a full experience of it so you can really appreciate it and know which of the brand that you'd like to buy, if not all of them, because they're all absolutely beautiful. Fantastic. Well, again, thank you so much for being so generous with your time, taking us on a masterclass, helping us to understand not only the range, but understand notes in perfumery in general. It really helps us with our education and the education of our viewers.
Yeah, thanks from me too. It's been wonderful to deep dive into Siuno and a little bit about the vision that has brought your beautiful fragrances to life. I've really enjoyed listening to it and experiencing them. It's been absolutely a privilege. So thanks again.
Thank you to you both. I've had a lot of fun talking about perfumes. And I think I learned some things from you as well, Trent and Robin, about perfumes. So there you go.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks. That's great. So thanks again also to our listeners. Please join us next time for another fragrance adventure and the stories behind it. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.